This is Scituate State of Affairs, discussing local government issues and town news. And as we continue on in this new year of 2025, we are taking a look at the state of the town, where we are and where we're going. And the man to help us do that is Select Board Chair Andrew Goodrich. Mr. Goodrich, always good to see you. We have a lengthy list here of a lot of stuff, good stuff. Sewer in North Scituate, beach parking, beach bathrooms, Mordecai Lincoln updates. We'll get to all that here in a second. I want to start with you and that select board because I think this year is a pivotal year for this board. Come May 2025 for that election, 2 seats will be up for grabs, Ms. Karen Canfield, Ms. Karen Conley. If they choose not to run, you will become the most senior member of that board 5 years after you started. How are you feeling and what are your thoughts on the select board this upcoming year?
Yeah, in general, I'm very excited. It is amazing. I mean, you can look around the world and things are very, it seems almost crazy sometimes. But, I want folks to know that everyone on the select board now really works well together. And everyone's intentions are there for the right reason. We're certainly not perfect, but we work well together, and the infighting and things you may see outside, we talk about it sometimes, that it's this great microcosm. And so if Karen Conley and Karen Canfield, who've both done tremendous work over the years, decide not to run, we hope someone who does want to step up wants to have that same collaborative effort to kind of really work together. Because as we'll talk about, and we're talking about issues like sidewalks and sewer and water, and these are just issues that we all need to kind of come together as neighbors to do. So it's been both fun, rewarding, and there's so much opportunity for us. So
Sure,
it's exciting.
Sure. And we should tell people that, and probably in the next week or two, nomination papers for that May 2025 election will be coming out. So see the town clerk on that. All right, let's get to our list. I think let's start with sewer in North Scituate because I'm convinced this is going to be the chatter around town all of this upcoming year. What's happening and what happens next?
Yeah. So number one, I'll start off the bat. We will get sewer in North Scituate. It will be coming. Immediately, the first step is engineering. So they're out. So we have engineers now already going out to make sure that they can get all the sewer down to the wastewater to the treatment plant. So that's going to take a while. The most amazing thing about this whole process, and if folks do want to try to move the ball down the field a little faster, they can contact their state representatives and also state DEP, because the permitting process alone, we have been told, could take 18 months. So we can have this plan in place, but the state is going to sit on their hands for 18 months before we can actually put shovels in the ground to make sure that things happen. And to be honest, as your chair, to me, it's discouraging because we know we've been waiting for so long and we've done so much work on I&I, which would be the inflow and outflow, fixing the pipes for folks at home, to make sure we have the capacity. So we want to be able to move as fast as we can to make sure that we can do that.
And we should point out here, it's not this, what we're talking, the sewer here is not for all of North Scituate, correct? There's basically, I would say, what, business district?
Correct, yeah. It's essentially the business district going up right around the train station and all the way down kind of where Cosmos is and down that area. So it's not every single residential area. We're just talking about the business district. But the more that we plug those holes in those pipes, we'll be able to bring on more and more folks. It's just a win-win. It's good for the environment because of those septics that may fail. It's good for local business, and it's good just to rejuvenate that whole area.
Now let's stick around that area and talk about Minot Beach and the parking. Yes. Just this past year, the town discovered it had additional land, it owned additional land in that parking lot. So where do we stand with that? What's next this upcoming year?
Yeah, so it's currently in front of the Conservation Committee to make sure that all the plans can get through, and it will get through. And our plan is by this spring, shovel in the ground, start making that ready. So for this summer, we'll have additional spots over by the Minot parking.
And I think, what was it, how many spots did it add? Close to
6. Well, we'll get, if we have to add more or less, depending on what sort of
Oh, this is very
bathroom
true.
we have to
Let's-
do, but
let's-
you look at 6 to 8, which is not huge, but it's still. I mean, when you're there on a Saturday, you're looking around. I can't find anything. Those extra always come in handy.
They absolutely do. Okay, so let's talk about the bathroom situations.
Right.
We tested out what I think they were called the King Thrones over at Egypt Beach this past year.
Yes.
All the rage. Everybody was talking about them.
Yes.
So moving forward, what are we doing?
So for this year, we're going to go full season again at Egypt for that same sort of a setup, which is a trailer bathroom. Some folks, if you didn't get to see it last year, we had the small test, but you may see them at weddings or other places, and we're renting it. And we're renting it because the company can also come and clean it to make sure. That's really the big pushback, right? Can we have nice things? As a community, can we have nice bathrooms and let's not make them super dirty? Now it's going to be, obviously it's a public bathroom, there's sand and everything else, but how much of the, this is like the social contract. Can we please have this, folks, and make sure that we have a nice, cleaner bathroom that's accessible and that's there. And we then, if this is a good test and we're able to do it and people like it, we can maybe move to Minot or Peggotty or other beaches to go forward. But it's,
So for now, it's just Egypt Beach.
for this year, all season, see how we go, and we'll see.
And the one we're putting into, there were, I went out to cover when the test one was there, and there were some comments that said it's not ADA compliant.
Yes.
This new one will be, correct?
New one and all the other future ones were there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a Sophie's choice for last year. We had a few said, well, we're going to test it anyway to make sure this is even doable. It was okay. We need it to be ADA. We need to make sure it works.
Yeah.
So
I think
now
I think this will be extremely popular. When I was out there taking pictures, I had 5 people just drive by that stop and ask me about it too.
Oh, good.
There's a need
Yeah.
for it. There's a need.
Excellent.
Let's talk electric car charging stations.
Yes.
We've installed quite a bit around town, correct?
We're trying to get 4 new, like those more power. I guess they're more powerful. I don't have an EV, but folks that do, where they charge faster, and so we're working with with National Grid for 4 different spots. Hoping for at least 2 for this spring, be fully open. But we're looking at the library, 1 in North Scituate, place to be determined because of where the power lines have to go. The dog park and town hall, and so there'll be a better grade, faster type charging for folks as well, which I think it's needed, and not being able to find a good spot can be difficult, and so we're just trying to have that service for
I think
folks.
it's important for residents to know too is that at town hall at least, the town vehicles are majority of the time plugged in there.
Yeah.
But if they go into, if it's open, they go in and just say, hey, can you move it?
Right.
They do.
Yeah.
They move it for them, so people should keep that in mind. Let's talk financing here, because we had a sort of a banner year this past year with some bond refinancing.
Yes.
In layman's terms, explain it to us.
So it's basically, in layman's terms, it's like refinancing your mortgage at home. And so in the fall, our finance team and Pam, our treasurer, was able to look at the rates on some of our debt and say, wait a minute, rates have come down. This is what we're paying. Can we essentially get a lower rate? And she was able to get, you never want to time the market, especially say the number now. I think what was it? It was 2.7 she was able to get, which was, I'm not sure today, she'd be able to get that. And you're looking at over $4 million in savings over the term for some of those, which is, it's massive to be able to start rethinking and saying, hey, are we doing everything that we can? And I'm so proud of that team, because they're also taking advantage now on interest rates that are going up, and they're looking to invest taxpayers' money that's going to be there in I would say CDs, but again, those investments, short-term, safe investments, to make sure that we're getting our money's worth and money back, to make sure that we can keep funding, and they're doing a tremendous job.
Mm-hmm.
But it's huge, over $4 million.
That's great. And I think too, school committee member Peter Gates was pretty instrumental in this
He was
too,
fa-
correct?
he's fabulous.
Who serves on the
Yeah.
financial forecast committee, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's been advocating and talking about this, and it's a great partnership. Yeah, 'cause he's always got great ideas, so it's great.
Let's move to something that will certainly be controversial. Pickleball courts.
Pickleball, yes.
Yes. Get at the old gates, yes?
Yes, so we used Toll Brother money to essentially redo those tennis courts over there, because as folks may or may not know, if you haven't been to the high school lately, that those high school tennis courts will be done for this season. And so they're going to convert two of the tennis courts at Old Gates into pickleball, so you'll be able to double up. So essentially, it's not a whole huge rebuild. It's redoing the paint and making sure everything's still flat, and redoing the lines, and that's really it. But it's a huge, because you're doubling your actual pickleball ability. You can get more pickleball on a tennis court, and I know people get upset with the noise. The beauty of that spot is that you're abutted by a cemetery, and the rec department, and a baseball field, and so it's a good spot, and we're going to get years of use out of it, and so get those rackets out when it's done.
Let's go to Mordecai Lincoln. There's been a lot of things going on there. We've currently got the auction going on as they cleaned out that house. A new parking lot is sort of in development. What's new? What will happen in 2025 for the Mordecai Lincoln property?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing is people should still get to know it, right? I mean, there's still not a huge amount of traffic, and I think we still need to really get the word out that you have a new trail in town. You have a new trail that goes out and looks out, and there's beautiful, you have a water access that's out there, and there's beautiful meadow, and there's a historic element as well. So the real goal is to make sure that it's safe, that the trails are maintained, and seeing what we can do to on the buildings there, make sure that they're well maintained as well. But I would just ask folks, if you haven't been out there, check it out. It's just such a beautiful spot, and walk around and see what your money has gone to, because it's stunning.
It is phenomenal. I see people there all the time. They do art classes up there as well. It's a great location. I'm not familiar, you had this on the list, I'm not familiar with the sidewalk bylaw.
Yeah, so part of the things for folks that we want to talk about a little bit is EDC, the Economic Development Council, has been talking about all the different sidewalks in town and what's happening and how do we kind of connect. And so one of the things that some other cities and towns have done, they have essentially said, well, if you're in a neighborhood and you said, listen, Scituate has not done this sidewalk in a while, can we come together and we'll put up half the money, town, will you put up half the money? This is the easiest way to explain it. And we had no mechanism for that to happen. If a business person wanted to say, listen, I want to redo this part in front of my store and come down, the businesses come together. We had no easy and good way to be able for that to happen. And we had some folks approach us to say, we want to do this. I said, well, sure, we would love to work with you to try to make all of our dollars move faster. So if folks want to, so that's essentially what the bylaw would do. Will it be used? Maybe, maybe not. We hope so. We hope it'll encourage some conversations to say, hey, could we see if we can get a sidewalk on our, whatever it's going to be. To me, that's almost the better thing to happen, is that folks will start talking, hey, maybe this one really needs to, let's talk about what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense, or is that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just amazing that we didn't have a mechanism to be able to kind of do that. And so
Sure.
We looked at other towns and said, all right, well, how do they do it?
Yeah. There also in town, there are a lot of other projects that you and I discussed before this interview, whether it's Pier 44, the water treatment plant, and those will develop as well, but everything's sort of in this process right now, correct?
That's right. Yeah, a lot of it is in either community discussions, if we talk about the old Pier 44, and to make sure that that there's community buy-in, but also that the concerns are being held, and also just they're looking for grant money, and they're looking to see what's going to happen. It's a new fiscal year, so what's the state going to be offering? What's federal grants? Every sort of thing that they're kind of looking for to make sure. and that's critical. And for the water treatment plant, what's amazing about that is that it seems like it's going slow, but it's going steady, and we're on schedule. So, given trying to do construction in the winter is never easy, but the fact that we're still staying on schedule, I think, is a great sign.
When we think about like the state of the town, and as we go into this 2025, how do you think we're doing overall?
Yeah, I think we're doing excellent. I think this is going to be an austere budget, right? So there's a lot of unknowns, and the unknowns come from, and folks need to know this at home, state aid has not kept pace with inflation, right? So my best example is that when I started on the board to today, just a fire hydrant costs 3 times as much. So, and the concern on the board, I know, is affordability and how it's seemingly prices keep going up for everything, fees and taxes and everything else, and are we getting enough back in return? And that's our concern. Do I think we can do better? Yeah, we need to do better, and we have to continue to do better to make sure that the affordability issue is there, and are we spending money in the right ways? Yeah, I mean, do I get nervous about state aid and federal aid and other stuff? Sure, absolutely. I want to make sure that we have the resources, but I mean, the team that we have to make sure that we don't overextend, I think we're in a good spot.
Great, great. Well, I look forward to seeing all these projects develop in this new year. And Mr. Goodrich, always good to see you.
It was great. Thank you.